We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. So last night, in case you missed it, and I will preface this a little bit too. Big Game Boomer, who is really well known on Twitter, like 70,000 followers, covers college football, talks college football, came on the show last night, has said some really hateful things about LSU. So he's going to come and join us here tonight at 6:30 to debate whether he really believes if LSU actually sucks. Because his words, and I'll just read one of some of the things he said. I'll just read the first one. That extremely hostile, talking about LSU and LSU fans. They're extremely hostile. They hate everybody. And that's all after winning the SEC West. Interesting. I'm not mad that we won the SEC West. I'm just calling people out for buffoonery. But he'll be joining us here at 6:30. So stay in tune for that one. But before we do that, we do got to get to some things in reference to LSU on the field and around the SEC, as there's some big news coming out of the SEC with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. What the future of the SEC is going to look like. How does that affect LSU? We'll talk about that. Keys to victory. You know, every Thursday we do at least 3 or 4 keys to victory. Guys, I mean, really and truthfully, these should be pretty easy, but maybe some things more about what I want to see, but 3 things nevertheless that you have to do this Saturday night at 8 o'clock in Death Valley. As we do every Tuesdays and Thursdays, hashtag Ask Blake. Thoughts, concerns, any issues you have, fire them inside the Rudy Crew chat. We will get to as many of them as we can as the show does go on. I'm assuming the Rudy Crew chat will be pretty live starting around 6:30, so it's going to be really fun. So firing your questions, start firing your thoughts. We'll get to as many of them as we can. And if I'm not mistaken, I put this down there, and I didn't double check myself. I think LSU basketball is at 7 tonight, right? Okay. I thought I was going crazy because somebody told me that they were going at 8, and I said 7. They were like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, okay, whatever. But they'll be going at 7 tonight. Maybe so a little bit of preview. I mean, guys, like I've said before, I don't know really what I'm looking for this season to be like. I just wanted to be competitive in year one. If they exceed those expectations, then good on them. But I'm not really looking for Matt McMahon to go full Brian Kelly in year one, considering everything that's happened around LSU basketball. But we'll see. I mean, Brian Kelly did some really amazing things in year one. Can Matt McMahon? I mean, look, if you have the same success that Kim Mulkey did last year, I mean, it would be absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that that he'll be able to get there, but we never know. We never know. All right, let's get to a couple comments, guys. Let's go, says Lauren Christian on YouTube. Glad I got my notifications on. Almost lost track of time, but couldn't miss this one. Yep, 30 minutes or 25 minutes. Big Game Boomer will be joining us. Chris English says, I blocked this clown on Twitter. Andrew Pauls Martin says, it's a great night to lay the boom on the boomer. Delton Duce on YouTube says, hashtag my body is ready. Pooh Bear, is that like a pause? You're the pause commissioner. Is this a pause, Pooh?
Hey, when he read that, I hit the Russell Westbrook. What?
I guess you got paused by Pooh Bear, which is the ultimate of pauses. He is the dictator of all things pause material. Anyway, Cram M says, I wanted to send this early. Blake, take it easy on this dude. Well, we're going to have a debate. We're just going to have a debate. I'm not going to take shots at him personally. He ain't taking shots at me personally. I'm not going to take shots at him. This is what content is. This is what, talking about sports is. He hasn't taken, personal shots at me. I'm not going to take personal shots at him, but we're going to debate and we're going to get after it. I promise you we're going to get after it. Path. We'll just call this person Path on YouTube. Says, just tell him we ain't hostile. We just kept receipts. Yeah. I mean, God bless Twitter, because I bookmark a lot of things, especially if they don't come true. But if they do come true, yeah. Kim says Boomer needs to scratch his mad place and get over it. Scratch his mad place. Guys, have y'all ever heard that one before? We got some sayings coming out the woodwork in this thing. We got some sayings. I mean, they're ready to go. Tully Blanchard, one of our good friends over at Synergy Resources LLC. Go to their website today, Synergy, RESLE.net. That's Synergy, RESLLC.net. Call him today. Ask for my man right here, Tully Blanchard. Let him know that Blake Ruffino's at AYS sent you on by. But he says, tell Boomer we got some hoses and fittings. That's what they do. Hoses and fittings. We got a fitting for him, all right? Pause. Ryan says, let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, I listened to Lil Wayne the whole way home today. And a little bit, you want to talk, get myself psyched up. Not really. Dion Blake says, oh, yeah, I'm a flame him. Okay. Ryan Cronledge says, I'd love to see y'all talk about college football blue bloods, because he said Oklahoma is one and LSU isn't. Could be a fun debate. Well, guys, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with him on that one. You're going to hate me on that, but what considers a blue blood? I mean, I get what you're saying, but listen, I don't know, Ryan, if you're like me, being a blue blood doesn't mean shit when you hit the field. Like, Penn State's a blue blood. Doesn't matter when they play Ohio State. Doesn't matter when they play SEC teams. Like, that stuff doesn't matter. It doesn't help Nebraska, who some people say is a blue blood. Like, they had 20 years of a really good run. Doesn't help them now when Scott Frost is fired and they're getting their cheeks clapped. So are they a blue blood in the last 20 years? Like, what dictates that? I don't know. All right, a couple more, and then we'll get rolling. KJ says, former Notre Dame defensive lineman David Lacey is going to be at LSU this Saturday. Yeah, look, you could always use interior defensive line play. And look, you're going to have to you might have to replace some. Like, what does Jaquelin Roy do at the end of the season? And you look, really and truthfully, you haven't really rotated anybody outside of Mekhi Wingo or Jaquelin Roy really in there. So you need more depth there. So any depth you can get is absolutely, absolutely good. Pooh Bear says, I think the term blue bloods is more relevant in college basketball. I agree with that holistically. Like, I agree with that. All right, Alad, last one. Rick says on YouTube, Joe Burrow just completed another touchdown to Justin Jefferson in Atlanta versus the Sooners. What's that, like 5 or 6 now? And that was Zach. But Zach, you don't ever really comment. That's why I always say Pooh Bear. And then when you comment something smart, I definitely don't think it's you. I definitely think it's Pooh Bear. So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? All right, guys, let's get this thing rolling. Brandon Miller says, where's that Carter's water? Dog. Come on, man. Come on. And you know what else I got? Good old-fashioned Miller Lite. Hey, Ben, cheers. Dude, my son's a trip, bro. Cheers. It's the only thing bad about living out in the country. Like, he gets a little country accent because he's around these country people all day. It breaks my heart. I'm like, Brent, where are you going? Outside. And I'm not outside. I'm like, oh, man. Loves him some dinosaurs, though. All right. Let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting like and share, guys. Everybody, so many of you I can see right here watching us live here on Facebook. Hit the like, hit the share to all of those Facebook groups. We greatly, greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, all of that great stuff. We greatly, greatly appreciate you doing that as well. Everybody listening on the TuneIn app, XM Radio, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. Look, I can't say enough how much you guys are really, really going and listening on the XM Radio and the TuneIn app. It's been fantastic. Continue to like the podcast in that rate, review, and subscribe mode. All right, guys, let's get to our first break. Keys to victory. We'll talk around some LSU football for this weekend, some major SEC changes coming up, and then Big Game Boomer at 6:30. But let's get to our first break. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons, gmvarnosons.com. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motor chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, everybody hit the like and share. Don't be a Rudy Poo. Hit the like and share. Guys, we got a bot in the chat too. All right, we got some breaking news coming out of the Brian Kelly press conference. LSU wide receiver Brian Thomas, per Brian Kelly, has been cleared for action this Saturday versus UAB. Guys, that's pretty massive. Getting him back, working back in the rotation. If you didn't know, Brian Thomas did not play last week against Arkansas. He was out with through the golly, friggin' sinuses. Concussion protocol. That's the reason that he was out, but he'll be back. I think that that's absolutely massive that he is going to be back. You can get him back into the fold, get him working through some things as you'll face off with Texas A&M next week, whose secondary has been pretty much suspect. All right, so let's talk about this game and let's get this thing started, y'all. Let's get this thing started, y'all. Thomas Robinson on YouTube says, Blake, any word on Mason Smith's rehab outlook for next season? No, not really. Not really. I mean, look, just being someone who's tore their ACL twice. Guys, how long ago was September the 4th, right? So September, October, November, December. So, I mean, even coming into the SC championship game, he would only be 4 months into rehab. I mean, there's no way that he's coming back this season. So if I'm him and if I'm LSU, I don't even think that they'd be pushing that at this point, even if there was a slim chance. I mean, the only person that I've ever seen come back and be fully healthy in a very quick time span, y'all remember that year Adrian Peterson came back from a torn ACL and was like going back and forth with Peyton Manning for comeback player of the year? But I mean, that's a different freak of athlete, right? Like, that's just a different dude. I mean, Mason Smith's probably got 100 something pounds on Adrian Peterson. So I mean, no, I don't think, and I haven't asked, but I can. Rick says Brian Thomas is a beast, almost impossible to guard one-on-one. I agree. All right, so let's talk about these 3 keys to victory. Look, there's not really anything I think that LSU has to do like out of the ordinary. Like when you face Alabama, there are some things that you just have to do to win. You have to have big plays. You have to have passes down the field, whether you connect with them or you get a pass interference. You got to be able to stay disciplined. You got to run the football effectively. Here, if any one of those things offensively struggles, like if you're not able to throw the football, if you're not able to run the football on UAB, then guys, we have an issue. Now, you ran the ball last week in very bad weather conditions, getting to almost that 200-yard mark again. I think that you're going to be able to run the ball all over UAB. Like I don't think that there's anything that UAB up front, in their front 7, in their DB rooms, I don't see how they can beat you. Now, the thing and the key to victory, we talked about this on Tuesday. Teams are going to show you blitzes. Teams are going to send blitzes at you from here on out. Like, no question about it. You're going to do it until you show that you have the complexity and the wherewithal to be able to pick up exotic blitzes, stunts, pressures, zigzags. Well, we call them zigzags, or you can call them whatever you want to call them. I would expect UAB to send some pressure on LSU this week. Guys, I just fully would expect them to try to send the house to see what happens. I think Jay needs to get back in the rhythm with his wide receivers. The running game, it needs to stay the same. Offensive line's got to get better. I really do want to see some of these younger guys get into the fold. I want to see, like, what does some of these younger offensive linemen look like? What does some of these younger wide receivers look like? Maybe LaTerrence Welsh, 4-star guy coming out of the Lafayette, Acadiana area. Can he get some playing time? Guys, I'll be truthful. I really want to be, and people are going to hate me for saying this, I want to see all 3 quarterbacks play Saturday. I want to see all 3 quarterbacks play. And really and truthfully, you're going to get what you're going to get out of Jayden Daniels. You're going to get what you're going to get out of Jayden Daniels. You know what he can deliver. I want to see the battle between Garrett Nussmeier and Walker Howard. Can you get to that situation? Now, this is a little bit different now. This is a little bit different than you going up against an FCS opponent like a Northwestern State you did a couple seasons ago, or a Southern that you went against earlier this season. That's a different game, a different opponent. You can't take this team lightly. You just cannot take this team lightly. But I still want to see some of the younger guys do it. Here's another thing in number 2. You want to keep showing and proving people wrong. You played in a bad weather condition this past Saturday. You're probably going to play in another one this Saturday too. It's going to be cold. Probably, it's supposed to rain that morning. Does it dry up? The energy probably won't be there as it was against Alabama. I get that it's senior night, but man, respond, which leads me to say this. By the way, just so I say it now, our good friends, which makes me, because I was talking about I was thinking about people going to the game. Our good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com, Ryan Williams, one of the attorneys there, is going to be giving away 4 tickets to UAB. So Section 420 in Death Valley this weekend. If you want to go, don't DM me on Facebook. DM AYS Sports on Twitter. If you want 4 free tickets, DM us on Twitter, and we'll try to get them over to you. Okay. So if you want free tickets, they're sponsoring it through us. So just hit us up in the DMs. I'll let Ryan know. And let me say this: first come, first serve. So whoever hits me up first, that's who we're getting the tickets to. So you want to go to the game this weekend, hit me up. We got some tickets for you. But look, again, and getting back to the point, continue to prove people wrong. And I don't mean this in the wrong way because I'm being serious in this one. Like Big Game Boomer, who's going to be on here in 10 minutes. He's had some words about LSU. Go out there and respond to the naysayers. Go out there and prove that you do belong. Because let me promise you this. USC and UCLA play this weekend. Guys, did you know that UCLA is the number one team in the country? The number one team in the country as they have the most yards per carry, meaning when they run the football, they are number one in the country in the average run per carry. USC just lost Travis Dye. I think USC goes down this weekend. So then you start getting into a situation where now you might have USC out of the picture in this playoff race. So go out there and, again, handle your business. Control what you can control, and everything else will be fine. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. I mean, guys, so many of you are watching us live on Facebook right now. Why haven't all of you hit the like and share? It's redonkulous. It's redonkulous. Number 3, and probably the final thing this week. Look, I'm going to say this, and I'm not breaking news, okay? I'm not breaking news. But I do want to say this. There's a reason that some people are not on that seniors list. Okay? Those guys that are coming back, and you know who you are. I know who you are. You know who you are. Let me just tell you this. Don't wait until next season to try to do this again. Be the leaders in that locker room and make sure you let everyone know why can't we get to the playoffs this season? Because you never know what's going to happen when South Carolina takes on Tennessee. You never know what's going to happen 3-4 weeks into the season. You determine what happens with this team. You're the leader on this team. Leaders don't have to be vocal. They can be, and a lot of them are, but you don't have to be. Joe wasn't a very vocal dude. You know, I think of the best team in the NFL right now, what some people tell me is the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts isn't. He's not a very overly vocal dude. Leaders come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, genders, whatever you want to call it. Make them believe and show them that you still run this team. I know that they know that you do. But leave no doubt. Because look, we're not promised tomorrow. Make sure you're taking care of your business today. Let tomorrow worry about what tomorrow is going to bring. Why do something tomorrow when you can take care of it today? So my grandfather used to tell me that all the time. Don't let something that you think don't let an opportunity pass you by because you think you can do it tomorrow on what you can get done today. You play to LSU standard that you've played this season, you're gonna put up 40-something points on UAB. Like I see this game going 42-17. Like I can visibly see at the end of the night it being 42-17. Go handle business. All right, let's transition, though, very quickly because I do think that this is a massive story coming out of the SEC today, and what does it mean for LSU? Big game boomer in 3 minutes. And let me just Dip, get over it, buddy. They said in the chat that they don't want me to do it. If you want my beard shaved so bad, bring your happy ass over to the studio and shave it. God, and then this guy who's got pube hairs on his chin, crying. They told me not to do it. I don't know what to tell you. So get over it. Get over it. Get over it. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's get here. If you missed it today, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said, well, if you didn't know, bro, if you didn't know, then you didn't watch the show, which is your fault. So SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey came out today and stated that he's leaning to having the SEC as one division. Now, guys, I have a little bit of concern on this. So instead of doing two divisions when Texas and Oklahoma come into the SEC, they want to make one division. They don't want to go to the pod system. They don't want to necessarily do permanent opponents, but which makes me think, like, if you don't do permanent opponents, then you are going to be some years then taking out a rivalry game then, right? Like, are you going to take, I mean, there's no way they're going to take away the Iron Bowl, right? Like, there's just no way. I don't know what SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is thinking here. I mean, I still want to play our two rival. Like, I think LSU should still continue to play Arkansas. I still think LSU should continue to play Ole Miss. Like, those are two trophies, whether you like them or not, and whether you think it's a rivalry or not. I still believe you should play those two teams. What does it mean for LSU, though, if they do go to one division and you don't have permanent opponents? Number one, and just to give an example here, guys, you wouldn't be in the SEC championship game this year if you were just one division. It would probably be Georgia, and it would probably be Tennessee facing off against one another or each other again. But just because that's this season doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. Meaning there's been a lot of times in a lot of seasons that LSU would have been back into the SEC title game facing Alabama again, or vice versa, because you'd have 1 and 2. I don't really mind it. Like, there's not, at least for me, I don't really care do I want to go and play team? Like, guys, we barely play Missouri. All right, now we'll play them next year, but we barely play them. I would love to play all teams in the SEC more. I want to play Texas, obviously, a little bit more than LSU has normally historically done. I want to play Oklahoma a little bit more than what we have historically done. I mean, the last 2 times we played Oklahoma, pretty much, I mean, they got demolished. And I know big games coming on in a minute, but 2003, 2019. So I don't really mind the SEC going to one total division. You wouldn't have the one. I would assume you're not going to play Florida every year that you keep doing. That's been your permanent crossover since what, guys? 93? I think it's 93 Florida has been the permanent crossover. So that game that you look forward to every year, which both opponents have agreed to, keeping that your permanent crossover, it might be going away. So, but I will say this, and I'm not saying this because Boomer's coming on in just a second. But if you take off Florida on the schedule and add an Oklahoma, I'm not going to be necessarily mad. Sarcasm. I'm not going to be mad if Texas, who, by the way, didn't turn on the air condition when LSU went there in 19, put the band up in the nosebleed, which I have no idea what that shit's about. Like, show a little bit of respect, in my opinion. Putting Joe Burrow's daddy up there in the nosebleed. Shouldn't have done that either. But it's just how I feel. All right. You're here for one reason. It's not for me. It's not for Pooh Bear. It's not for Boomer. It's not for Zach. You're here for a debate, and we're going to give it to you. All right, Big Game Boomer's coming up. We got him backstage with us now, but we got to get to a very quick break, though. But let me talk to you about our good friend John Patton over at GMFS Mortgage. GMFS Mortgage, they're changing lives. Purchase, refinance, build, or renovate. They do it all. If you're buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing a cash-out refi, the timing has never been better. Let him know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by giving him a call at 225-614-1234. God's just changing everything, man. He's changing everything. Help Megan and I save, I think, probably $400 on our mortgage each month. Give them a call. Let them know that we sent you on by. All right, let's talk about our good friends over at Gramco, thegramco.com. The debate, the epic debate. Next. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. All right, we are joined by the man. Everybody knows him on Twitter. He makes the list. He's coming after Big Game Boomer's joining us. First off, buddy, how we doing tonight?
What's happening, my man? How you doing?
Doing good. Second question, why do you hate LSU?
Just straight to it, huh? I don't hate LSU.
Band-Aid off, Boomer. We're ripping the Band-Aid off.
I do not hate LSU at all. I mean, I say a lot of negative things about a lot of different football teams, and just happens to be LSU fans. I could say that LSU fans hate parallel parking, and I'd have 10,000 replies and DMs from LSU fans saying, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. They're just very emotionally invested in their school, and it's cool. It's what I like to see. But I'll tell you what, I got this helmet right here on my desk. It's ugly, and I'm done with it. So, no problem with LSU though.
Okay, the disrespect. Well, this is why I believe you hate LSU. I just want to let you know, we just got some receipts here. Extremely hostile, hates everyone, especially after winning the West. This is what you said now. Number 2, LSU does not have a true rival, so they hate everything. Number 3, LSU being ranked above USC is the biggest SEC bias. We're getting back to this in a minute.
Yeah.
I've ever seen. You're going to love that bias in just a minute, though, when Oklahoma comes into the SEC. You'll love that bias.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? If there really is bias. Here's the biggest one for me. You ready?
Bring it.
LSU had Billy Napier right in their backyard and turned up their noses at him for $9.5 million Brian Kelly. Boomer, how do you defend this?
Well, I tweeted that, I believe, right at the end of the Florida State game after that. That was the ugliest game. I've never seen a team look more unprepared than LSU in that game. Brian Kelly looked lost on the sidelines. The dude wasn't talking to anybody. I don't know who was coaching that game. So, yeah, I tweeted that. That's wrong. I was wrong about LSU. I admit that. I come on shows. I'm not afraid of coming on shows and saying I'm wrong about takes, because that's all they are. They're takes. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. But at that moment in that time, after Florida had just knocked off Utah and Anthony Richardson looked like Vince Young, at that time it looked like a good take, but turned out to be wrong.
We'll get back to Utah in just a minute. It's interesting you say that, because right after you said it's early, but LSU might be the worst team in the SEC West. So not only did you say that, you said that they might be the worst team in the West.
Hey, you can't tell me you watched that Florida State game and were optimistic that LSU was going to win the West. Did you? So
interesting that you bring that up.
You cannot tell me that.
AYS tweets at the end of the loss. You ready? Quote unquote, I still think that this is a 9 or 10 win team.
Yeah. Well, I don't keep your receipts, so I don't know. but I don't look. I think LSU benefited from the West being down this year. I will agree with that. Bama is Bama, but they're not Bama. They're not for real. Jimbo, Texas A&M, they suck. Three wins. Get out of here. Ole Miss, they're all right. Lane Kiffin's got it going on a little bit. Mississippi State, Auburn's a train wreck. So I feel like Brian Kelly took advantage of a good situation. And the biggest thing for me is I did not expect Jaden Daniels to be able to be the best running back on LSU's football team. I mean, the dude, I think he's the leading rusher on LSU. Am I wrong there? He is?
Yeah, he's the leading rusher on LSU team.
I thought he'd get banged up trying to run like that in the SEC West, and he didn't. And that's the difference maker. I mean, the game against Florida State, he looked lost. I mean, him and Boutte arguing on the sidelines. I mean, it just looked like a mess. But after that, it seemed like they really started clicking in that Florida game. And hey, they turned it around, beat Ole Miss, beat Bama, and they proved me wrong. So hats off to Brian Kelly. It was a good year.
Let's debate this then, because you did say, and this is why I really wanted to have you on, because I wanted to debate this point. You said that there was no reason that LSU deserved to be over USC. Let's debate this. Yeah. I'll give you the floor first, and then I'll counteract to it.
Okay.
Why did you say that, or just give your reasoning and thought behind that, and we'll debate that.
Well, look, LSU is a better football team than USC. I think anyone that watches those two teams play can make that can distinguish between those two. Here's my problem. LSU has 2 losses. All right. You lost to Florida State that week 1. That game was horrific. And then you get the doors blown off of you at home by Tennessee, which I know y'all wanted that to be a night game. It was an 11 a.m. kick, and they came in and kicked y'all's butt. USC's one loss.
You can curse on here.
I'm allowed to curse. Okay. They kicked your ass. USC's one loss came, against a very good Utah team, which I think very highly of. And it was a 1-point game. Cam Rising gets a 2-point conversion. So I think at this time, USC should be ranked ahead of LSU. Now, last week I said that Oregon, I was disappointed that Oregon was ranked ahead of LSU because Oregon got their doors blown off by Georgia. So I thought LSU should have been ranked ahead of them then. But, with the USC thing, I think with just having 2 losses, you got to put USC ahead. Now, I think USC loses this weekend to UCLA. But right now, these rankings, they're just talking points. You got to put USC ahead of LSU.
So then you kind of contradicted then, because then there is a reason. Because if they're better, like the rankings aren't about, because look, what we've learned with these rankings, the preemptive conference champion or whatever it may be, that really doesn't mean shit anymore, right? Like,
yeah,
we've learned that it comes down to who are the 4 best teams. And I agree with you. I agree with you on this. I think UCLA is going to beat USC this weekend. Okay, but you did tweet out a poll asking if LSU would beat USC. It was pretty resounding on the LSU part, which I agree with that poll and the holistic nature of it. My problem is this, though, is like sometimes it feels like you're not giving LSU the credit when they deserve it. And then you say, well, Utah's a good team. Utah got their cheeks clapped by Florida. And I don't really want to hear the humidity, because LSU.
Humidity was an issue. Humidity was an issue.
You know what was an issue between LSU and Arkansas last week? Snow. I ain't seen snow since in 12 years in this bitch. So it's not, winning and losing is not an excuse. Humidity is really not an excuse. So my point would be is you can't say that Utah's a good team and say, okay, brother, they wouldn't have 5 wins in the SEC. If they were in the West or the East, they wouldn't have 5 wins.
I disagree. Utah's built to play in the SEC. They're a physical football team. They're unlike, I think at the end of the day, I think Utah is going to win the Pac-12. They're going to beat Oregon this Saturday, and they're going to end up playing for the Pac-12 championship and winning. I think they're the most physical football team in the Pac-12. So, look,
ain't nobody from Utah with a football team can come to the Southeast. They get their cheeks clapped. Boomer, stop it. You know that.
Every year. You
know it.
Every year, the Pac-12 shoots themselves in the foot by playing an SEC team week 1, and they seem to always lose. Seems like Auburn's beaten Washington or Oregon every single year in week 1. But Utah is still, I think, the cream of the crop of the Pac-12. And, and they beat USC. But I think USC should be ranked ahead of LSU right now. Next week, probably changes.
Okay, but who have they played? They played 2
Oregon
ranked
State
that they went to the wire with. And
Utah, good physical team. Good physical.
Yeah, but are they? But the problem is, are they? Are those teams better than Florida State? Like, and there's got to be some type of parity to it. Like, you're taking first game Brian Kelly, okay, versus what they're doing now. Like, does the loss at Florida State matter as much, considering they're still a top 25 team, and it was game one after beating Alabama, after beating Ole Miss? Like,
I think the Alabama game, I think they're giving LSU too much credit there, because I do think that this Bama team is not, it's not up to its standard. They don't have receivers.
Their standard, though, Boomer, means nothing to them not being a top 10 team. They haven't beaten they have, outside of playing Utah and Oregon State, they haven't played a top 50 team yet.
It's not their fault. I mean, it's the schedule. I mean, they've played Fresno State's not a bad team. Fresno State's not bad. Who else have they played? Cal sucks.
They do suck.
I'm not gonna sit here and argue that the Pac-12 is better than the SEC, because it's not. But I'm just saying, at this moment on November 17th, you have to put a 1-loss USC team ahead of a 2-loss LSU team.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Okay, since you don't like LSU at all, why? So hypothetically, if LSU wins out, does Tennessee have to get in over LSU then?
Yeah, LSU's.
Okay, well then hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second then. If then that's the point, then how does a champion not get in and Tennessee does? Because your argument right now would be only for USC was because they would be a champion and atop the Pac-12. So how can you say Tennessee? So you're
no. My argument was, I'm not saying because I don't think they're going to win the Pac-12. My argument was that they're 1-loss USC team. I think they should be ranked ahead of LSU. I'm not saying they're going to win the Pac-12. Now, if LSU wins the SEC, I still think probably Georgia and Tennessee get in over LSU.
There's no way you can keep LSU out, Boomer. You know that.
You know that. See it.
That it's not about seeing it. You can't leave them out.
But you lost 40-13 at home to Tennessee.
With 2 offensive linemen out, 3 DBs out, and a linebacker out that started.
LSU's got dudes that can come in and play.
Boomer, they don't. They don't. He took over a roster with 37 scholarship players. No, he doesn't. He legitimately, he doesn't. I think that's the point. So you're telling Boomer, they have 65 scholarship players right now. They had to get 36 dudes in here.
Do you think you guys have a chance against Georgia?
I mean, Leon Edwards knocked out Kamar Usman, so I think anything's possible, right? Like I actually got married and have 2 kids and a beautiful wife. So yes, anything is possible. Okay.
I think Georgia is the new Alabama. I mean,
if they win a natty, I think that now let me say this. They're the best team in the country. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, that's a tough argument because I think that Jaden Daniels would have to go off, right? Like, I think that he would just have to go crazy. And I think that LSU would need Stetson Bennett to not be as good as he has been. I mean, would you agree with that? Like,
LSU has. I mean, BJ Ojulari is a beast on the line. I mean, they're great at putting pressure on the quarterback. I mean, what I saw with Georgia beating Tennessee, I mean, they just kind of came out there and kicked their ass, and I mean, it looked like they were playing at half speed. So it's going to be tough for LSU to go in there when Georgia's playing at their best. No one can beat them.
So. In your magic ball, who do you think is going to end up in the Final Four?
I think it's going to be Georgia, the winner of the Ohio State game, which I think Michigan is going to win.
I don't disagree with you there.
And then Tennessee is going to get in, assuming they win out, which they should. And then, man, it's a crapshoot. I mean, if TCU they got to beat Baylor this week, I mean, they got to go undefeated, and that's tough. So. I don't see USC winning out. I mean, because they got to play, UCLA. Then I forget who they play. They got to play Notre Dame next week. Then they got to go play.
They have
Oregon.
3 straight top 25 matchups. They're not going to win all 3 of them.
Yeah,
I don't believe.
No, they don't have the defense to do that.
Agreed.
So,
and Travis Dye's out.
I mean, maybe Michigan. What if Michigan, Ohio State is a close game and you get Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Tennessee?
Well, that was going to be my next question. If Michigan or Ohio State loses by 3, do they trump Tennessee to get in?
You could make the argument for sure. I mean, but the problem is that just the Big Ten may be the worst conference, Power 5 wise, in the country this year. I mean, every single year, like Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson call Michigan and Ohio State games. I've hardly heard them call a game because they're, calling Ohio State, Indiana, and Michigan, Maryland. I mean, it's a cupcake schedule. So I think they would give Tennessee. Okay. I think they give Tennessee over one of those 2 teams.
The first game I heard them was Penn State versus Ohio State. It's the first time I listened to Klatt and Gus because, I mean, look, you still had 2 top 10 opponents duking it out. Yeah. I know that this is a team that you've been on a lot. So let me ask you this. North Carolina, if they went out, do they deserve to be in the playoff discussion?
Now, the Coastal is probably the worst division in college football.
Agreed.
But if they beat, because they got to beat NC State, who I'm very high on. I know they kind of screwed up. Devin Leary got hurt, but that's still a good defense. They got to beat them. Clemson, I mean, it's going to be tough. But yeah, I think they could make it for sure. You're going to have probably you could potentially have 4 or 5 one-loss teams that could get that 4th spot, unless TCU goes undefeated, and then they're going to get that 4th spot. But TCU's been playing with fire all season. At some point, they're going to get burned.
Yeah, they did. Andrew Martin says here that Gus and Klatt called Alabama, Texas. You're right. I forgot about that. Boomer, yeah. I do got to ask you one more LSU.
And I do not hate LSU. And I promise you, it has nothing to do with the 63-28 game. Trust me, Blake, I had you on my podcast. I told you the story. I'm from Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for the game. And I told them, I was like, I'm not going to that game because I know that OU's going to get their ass kicked. They shouldn't even be there. So I'm not mad about that at all.
I know. All right. Let me ask you this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say, so you said you don't hate LSU. I do know somebody you do hate.
Who?
Brian Kelly.
Well, he's a very unlikable coach.
All right, so here we go. All right, what's Brian Kelly done to you? What's he done to you? He's
done nothing to me, but I mean, his pompous kind of attitude, a little arrogant. I mean, if you heard the story about him keeping his assistants outside at his Christmas party, shoveling snow.
Hold on. LaFleur came out and talked about that, though. LaFleur and Pooh Bear, help me. Who's the coach with the Jets? Somebody help me up. They said that they got, so look into that story a little bit now. They said that they got drunk and they were GAs at Central Michigan. Robert Saleh. They were drunk, and so instead of firing them, he made them shovel snow. So there's more to that.
I didn't know they were drunk. But
they got drunk. They missed a meeting.
I think even you can admit when he was the head coach at Notre Dame, he kind of came across as arrogant. He's changing, he's trying very hard. I can tell. I mean, he's trying hard. I mean, the little
Wouldn't you be a pompous asshole if you had a coach at Notre Dame?
I mean, you're getting paid $8-9 million a year. You can be a little nicer.
They won't let him hit the stanky leg in the middle of the cafeteria.
He's much more laid back at LSU. He's much more laid back. I thought it would be a train wreck with that personality coming into Baton Rouge and just the culture, but he's more laid back. So we'll see. When I do those unlikable rankings next year, maybe he's on the likable list. We'll see.
Bring his ass to the likable list, Boomer.
We'll see. We got a year. Of content.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay, because you do come out with a lot of lists. Now, I got to give you this one. How you do that, brother, it's got to take a lot of time. Okay. How long does it take you realistically to put something like that together?
Depends on the list. I mean, if I'm making a map.
Let me give you an example then. So you come out with best quarterbacks or running backs or wide receivers of the week. Like, how long does that take you to come out with?
That takes a long time because I'm watching games. I mean, on Saturday I'm watching 4 or 5 games. Then all day Sunday I'm watching games, and I take those lists extremely seriously because you won't believe how many players, parents, coaches, message me and be like, "Hey man, thank you so much for giving my guy support." So I mean, those lists I do take seriously. Now, when I did that tier list a couple days ago about like calling LSU fans hostile.
You were trolling.
Yeah. So LSU fans are a little hostile. They're hostile. I'm sure the chat right now is just blowing up.
Don't go over to it. Yeah, don't go over there for your own safety. Don't go.
Yeah.
Look at the chat.
But yeah, I mean sometimes it really just depends on the list. But I mean, I've just kind of built a model and it's just kind of blown up. It's kind of wild how it's all happened.
Yeah, what's crazy about that is taking LSU out aside, I know that you do work really hard on trying to, because you can't watch everybody, every single play, every single snap. No. How much are you watching college football like on Sundays and Mondays to catch up with everything?
A lot. I mean, all day Sunday. I don't watch the NFL. I'm watching college football games that I wasn't able to catch on Saturday. And yeah, like when Jaden Daniels went off against Alabama, I think I ranked him as the number 1 quarterback of the week performance wise. So
correct.
There's no bias when I'm doing that kind of stuff because the players deserve the respect when they play their asses off. But it's fun, man. It's that's why I got into it. It's fun to argue about college sports. It's a lot better than a lot of other stuff you can argue about.
I don't disagree with that. And this because we talked about this. I love college football. You love college football. There is a level of, obviously respect there. I know that we go back and forth on Twitter, but look, Twitter's not a real place. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you the big question because I don't see a lot of Nick Saban hate from you or really talk about a lot.
Yeah.
At least I don't. I've asked everybody who covers college football, the SEC, that's come on this show. Do you believe the dynasty is starting to slip? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier that you think Georgia has taken that mantle, but do you think Nick is sleeping? Do you think we're getting towards the end?
I think so. I mean, I think he's had a couple coaching changes that have gone south. I mean, I think Bill O'Brien is not a good offensive coordinator. I mean, look at A&M with buying, getting that recruiting class. I just think the talent gap is shrinking. More players are going to different places where Bama just used to get everyone. So it's getting a lot more difficult. I mean, how many 1-score games in the SEC has Alabama been in the last 2 years? It seems like every game has been pretty close.
They've been in 8.
Yeah, when they used to just blow everyone off, off the map. They're all close. So there's a lot of talent going around, and it's when you've got NIL and it really levels the playing game because, I mean, it's really just the teams with every team, especially in the SEC, every fan base has money, has deep pockets to go out and do this NIL deal. So it ain't just Bama and Texas A&M. Sure, they can spend $50 million on their recruiting class, and they'll still get the same results that they always get, 8-4 and less.
Don't know if I necessarily disagree with you there, but I don't think Nick Saban's ever going 8-4 or anything like that. I can't see it. All right. They know where to find you and your lists, but just in case it's the first time they've seen you, Boomer, tell them where they can catch all your stuff.
Yep, you can see me. I mean, I'm sure you have on Twitter, Instagram, Big Game Boomer, podcast, Big Game Boomer Show, just cranking out content all year long. Basketball season starting up. Doing that, but this was fun, man, and enjoyed it too. I always like coming into, because I'm on YouTube. I love going into the chat and just throwing in a comment, and then just the outrage from the LSU fans. It always kind of makes my evening.
Well,
drinking a
so
nice cold beer.
I sent you the picture last night, okay, and reference to, I was like, is this you? Just because like social media and Twitter. I mean, you never really know, like if it, somebody make it. Like, so.
I've got the blue check. I've got the blue check now. I paid $8 for it, but I've got it. So all the parody accounts can kiss my ass because I paid $8 for that blue check.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, buddy. We'll see you soon.
All right, take it easy.
That's big game boomer. All right. I'm glad he did not read the chat. If he did, who knows? Who knows? I probably should have asked him about why does Oklahoma suck so much, but oh well. Oh well. But hey, I respect him because he came on. Dane says Saban isn't arrogant. That's why I just ended it there at the end in reference to, like, well, you don't go after Saban like that. But you can't really go after Saban like that, though. I don't know. I'm assuming that this is Pooh Bear or Zach. But Zach says USC was within one score versus Arizona, Cal, and Oregon State. Yeah, and look, again, that's why I was saying I highly disagree with his logic on, like, why putting USC there. You mean to tell me that they're more deserving, but deserving how? Like, should a team be penalized for losing an extra game because they played a better team or better teams, plural? So LSU should not be LSU. If there's one thing I holistically disagree with him more than anything, this is not just an LSU thing. LSU should not be penalized for playing better teams and having one more loss than USC because USC play teams that are trash water. And to Zach's point here, Zach, what was the stat? Here it is. So they've had one score games with three teams that have would get their cheeks clapped in the SEC. Get their cheeks clapped probably in the Big Ten. So I'm not going there. I'm not going there. So we'll see. Stephen Fryer, good friends over at Fry Construction over in Eunice. Give him a call today. He says, great interview. LOL. Yeah, man. I mean, look, he doesn't attack anybody personally. If he's not attacking people personally, I'm not going to, and he doesn't attack me personally, I'm not going to attack him personally. Talking trash doesn't have to get personal. James says, thanks for repping. Shamichael Thompson, yeah, this was a bad one. He says, I'm behind. This dude just said Fresno State is not bad. Yeah, they're bad. Come on, bro. They're bad. Come on. Lucy B says, Blake, I respect you for being a gentleman. You're the sexiest on the show tonight. Lucy, are you a troll or something? Are you trolling? I got a wife, Lucy. I got a wife. D-Pain says, Boomer looked like the dude on the water boy on the hospital scene outside who said, I'm not what you would call a handsome man. D-Pain, log off. Don't come back. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's funny. Delton says this guy doesn't even know LSU is playing with only 60+ scholarship players. You can't be given all these hot takes if you're not informed. I do agree with that part. I mean, I don't think he knew that. Ant Marshall says Michigan doesn't. Their schedule is trash. Michigan's schedule is trash. I think, what are they, like 50th in the country? 50th in the country? All right. So Lucy says she was just giving me a compliment. But our horny producer, Zach, says, I'm free, Lucy. Defend yourself, Zach. Defend yourself.
Oh gosh, sorry. I had to throw it in there. I had to throw it.
You think Lucy? You want to holler at Lucy? What's up, though?
I'm here.
Okay, Zach. Okay. You don't even know what she looks like. That's what you call being a man. That's what you call being a man of God. Don't even worry about the looks. You see her from the comments. You think she's a good person.
That's right. She likes LSU, so we're already on a good start.
Okay. Bow chicka wow wow. All right, so listen.
Holla at your boy.
If you and Lacey get married.
Gosh, get it right.
Hold on.
Already messed up the girl's name.
Hold on. if you and or Lucy, excuse me, if you and Lucy get married, Reagan is not your best man. Your brother, which if you don't know, Reagan's his brother. I'm your best man.
Deal.
Because I might even start a podcast called The Love Boat.
And
Love
Pooh
Boat
will be the Reverend. Pooh will be the Reverend.
All right, now let's get Pooh involved here. Pooh, do you have credentials to be a reverend?
Give me 30 minutes on this internet site now. I got it taken care of.
All right, can it be any Henry Pooh? Can it be just any Henry Pooh that officiates it, Zach?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Pastor Pooh.
Hey, we got him
in the building.
We got him.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You know what's funny, Pooh? Your dad's a pastor. Zach's dad's a pastor. Interesting connection here. I don't know what it is about pastors' kids, but
heathens of a feather flock together.
That's right, Pooh. Got it. He was a feather.
It's true. It's true. All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you Saturday night. Guys, late Saturday night. Late.
Good grief.
8 p.m.
And it had to be the UAB game. It just had to be the UAB.
Yeah, I know. Why couldn't you do it like, I don't know, like Ole Miss or something?
Oof.
Anyway.
All right. Tennessee.
Pooh Bear, y'all live tonight talking to Tigers at what time?
7:30. We will have former UAB players on, talk about UAB past, UAB currently as well. So,
all right. And Zach, y'all go to live tomorrow, correct?
Friday night. We got Jasmine Carson joining us tomorrow night.
Ooh. Ooh, okay. All right. Until then, we'll see y'all soon. Have a good night. Peace out, Girl Scouts.